Okay, good evening. This is my review of my Remington AR1, which I recently got back from ARC Tuning. It's been a long 4 months. Been very patiently, like a good little boy. Santa finally delivered. Santa didn't finally deliver actually, because you can't do that. But basically, yeah, I got this back in the house on the 23rd of December, and I've had a crud back since then. I managed to get it out last night after a little bit of a potter about. Shot at target just to get basically that scope there, and the BKL mount sort of on paper and where I expect it to be, just to get some baseline data, and then start playing with it properly. So what do we actually get with the AR1 conversion? Now, the cheapest way to do this is actually to ring him up and speak to him direct. Okay, to do it the way I did it, probably it might work out 6 and 2 3s in the long run, but I think it was, when I remember talking to him, it would have been cheaper just to buy it straight off him. Let's quickly pull over the invoice, and what he's actually done is he's fitted a tuning kit. He's shortened and crowned the barrel, added a silencer onto it, added a trigger blade, and then part of the fitting kit involves doing a little bit of internal work as well, his own special sort of skills to it. So what's the main thing? Now, the reason I sent this rifle off was because of the state of the internals when I actually pulled it to pieces for the first time myself. I already knew about the conversion, but this is the piston seal here. Now, if I can get this into the light, try and take the focus onto my finger. I mean, even though it's blurry, you can still see, this piston seal. It ain't up to much. And for a company like Remington, it's just pretty clear to me that what they've done is they've took a Chinese rifle, shipped it off, and the Chinese are just quite simply just thrown everything in there with very little consideration for quality, I would say, on that. Where they have spent the quality, we'll review in another video, and I ain't going to get drawn into that again. I want to keep this completely on the AR1, okay? Because this is no longer a Remington Express, in my opinion. It's what Remington should have done from the start. So let's have a look at the silencer then. So let's pull this bag over here. This silencer is actually the same size and dimensioning, or close enough to, the actual muzzle weight on my Walther Century, and it is actually a proper silencer. I've checked in there myself. As far as silencers go on a spring rifle, that is really quiet. I've had Virox, I've had some Webleys on there, I've tried all sorts of different rifle silencers on some rifles, and they either make a twanging noise or they don't do anything. Some of them even throw the accuracy off. With this, it's just a solid thud. I'm even picking up a slight squeal from the actual spring action itself. It is until you actually hear it, and get a feel for it. You won't believe how good that silencer actually is. There's a second option he does for the AR1. Function wise, I'm not quite sure what it does. It's basically a shroud that goes down the length of the barrel, right up to the block, and that's got some really cool looking fins on. I was going to attach a video, but I'm struggling to do a picture of them that he sent us early on. But if you go on to Airgun Shooter and then have a quick Google of Remington AR1, you should be able to pick the option up pretty easily. It could actually be an air splitter. I'm not sure. You need to check that with Lynn, to be honest with you. But what I would say is that silencer, it's worth paying for. It really is. And to be honest with you, the price of it, looking at the invoice that I've got there, is comparable to Viroc, which are, as has been said to me quite a few times, what everybody tries to beat. In my opinion, personally, on springers, Lynn's done that. But that's just my opinion. I'm not, here to advertise him. I'm just here to tell you what I see and what I think. Now, the barrel has been shortened and crowned. There's been around about, yes, I can say it's in the Airgun Shooter review. They took about 3 inches off the barrel, and crowned it. I'm not exactly sure what all that involves, but I imagine it would just be I'm not even going to tell you what I think it is, because it's not worth it. It's been shortened and crowned, so it's been done properly, and it's been done. I know who done it, and it's been done by somebody who's very, very capable when it comes to working with air rifles. I actually spoke to him on the phone as well in the early days, and he was more. He does the job, so you get basically a good job done on the barrel itself. Internally, as I said, you've got Lynn's tuning kit in there, which, as we know from here, is going to hint very strongly that the spring has been changed. I know it has been changed, to be honest with you. We can see we've got a new guide in there, you know. But basically, as far as I'm aware, the only thing I haven't got back is the piston. So I'm pretty sure he CNC's the piston himself for the actual rifle. I do remember that being part of a conversation. Again, I'm picking up a bit of light off the TV here. It's worth bringing him up and having a chat with him about it, and seeing exactly what he does. Some stuff he'll tell you about, some stuff he won't. And that's, again, it's his rifle, it's his baby, it's his kit. He's done all the work, and I know he's done a lot of work, a lot of development. I've been with him pretty much every step of the way when it comes to these little babies down here, the trigger. And this was why it took 4 months to get here, because he's had a nightmare with these triggers, an absolute nightmare. The trigger is really, really good, to be honest with you, in comparison to triggers that I've got on Air Arms and the Walther, and other triggers I've had on the past on other rifles. This is a really nice trigger. Now, I could zoom in on it a little bit. It's rounded off, it's not particularly wide. That suits me. I don't think it needs to be. It's not cutting into my finger, it's not giving me any extra pressure. What it does do, it allows me to get my finger into any position that's comfortable on that rifle. Okay, now I tend to shoot like that because I just find that works for me, and I'm doing left-handed at the minute, you know. Previously on the rifle, the normal Remington, I was having to pull the trigger down here because it's quite flat. Because it was quite a stiff trigger, I was having to come right down to get the leverage out of it, which was stretching my finger a little bit. I don't get that anymore. That's I noticed last night had stopped. I've gone with a BKL mount for my own reasons, mainly because getting a scope that just doesn't wobble around on this is a nightmare. Got my Hawk Panorama on there, which I said was a Vantage in a previous video. Silent safety device still stays the same, you know, the Virarc style safety and push button style safety, and reset lever stays the same. I've done his little ARC tuning plate there. I've put this in all the videos that I've done on this so far, and I've done about 3 to try and get one right. I think I've got a diamond one here. This is probably going to come off, Lynn. I am very, very sorry, mate. I won't mind it somewhere else. However, I'm a bit of a fan of open sights, so if I can get some sort of True Glow stick on for the front end and get my leaf sight back, I'd be happy with, I say, leaf sight, battle sight, open sight, iron sight, whatever you want to do with it. The only other modification that may come along, which again is not part of the Remington AR1 conversion, is a quick QD stud in there, you know, the sort of threaded one, because if I get the Uncle Sam one, basically it's the same thread as what's in there. I've already checked it. Just wind a nut on there just in case I want to put a sling on, because the way this is shooting in the freehand state is pellet on pellet. Now I've got a target here that I took out last night. I'm gonna quickly that's my Crocs, my Christmas present. So these were when I first got it. Okay, hang on a second. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Right, if it's got a cross through it, that basically means that these were ones where I had it rested in the bag under its own weight like that, with my left hand crooked under the back and my right hand on the trigger. And what I tend to find is it jumps around. Now the standard Remington did that always, so when I fired it, I'd have to get my hand last night and get a good hold on it. Okay, I've got to work on my position. This has got nothing to do with the work that Lynn's done. So these were just putting pellet on paper, getting it roughly in the area, but you can see there's no consistency there. Normally you'd expect to see some sort of a line, maybe the left and right, or slowly working its way in. It jumped around a little bit, so I did manage to get finally on paper off one of these, which brought it up here, and then zeroed it down, got it to roughly where I need it, and then zeroed it. So I was aiming at this number 2 here, and I put about 7 shots in there in this little area here, and then this, you can see as I brought it down, 10 shots just to get a good group in, make sure that it's not still jumping around, to get myself there, and then finally brought it home. I then turned the target around, put it 30 metres out, so this is 17 metres, all this work here, 30 metres, and it's within an inch, and I was aiming at this black dot here. Everything was within an inch, 2 penny peaks fits centre to centre, which is about 3-inch improvement on what I got previously, and about 5 inches on the XP version of the Express. That's the difference that the AR1 is at the minute. Okay, this is really good as far as I'm concerned, and I'm still getting my hands on this rifle and starting to work with it. Like I said, I've had a bad back, and I was shooting this with a bad back. I was in a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain. I wasn't quite sure on how, I couldn't quite remember how I fired the rifle previously to get some sort of accuracy out of it. All I would say is, previous to that, it was like a shotgun. You were just chasing zeros all the time, and after about 30 shots of trying to actually get some kind of a zero past 20 meters, it looked like a shotgun had been at this. It really did. It was just peppered with holes, with no sort of logic or order to it. Now, interestingly, I stuck this out in the back garden today just to have a little bit of a play with it. Bearing in mind the windage is off on the scope still, because last night was windy, I was outdoors. I'm going to get that in the indoor range to do it. Aiming for the 6, I put 3 shots through this target, okay? And I took before and after picture because I'm tight and I don't want to lose the picture. 2 shots there. It's actually, it looks like one with a tear, if you know what I mean, almost like one of these here, or one of these, because each one of these is a single shot. That's actually 2 shots, and that was sitting down, forearm on my thigh, and normal artillery hold, and it squeaked out 2 shots, bang on each other. This one, still getting used to the trigger, because the trigger's quite light. It's a really nice trigger. It just went off. We all have that problem when we get something in our hands. What I'd say is about this AR1, if you want something to plink around in your back garden with, okay, go for your Express, okay? If you then suddenly decide that you want to take it a bit more seriously and you want to get that bit more out of it, and know you're going to get that more out of it, I would recommend going for this ARC conversion. It's really changed this rifle. I picked it up, fired 2 shots the second I got it, once I got it in the stock, just to make sure everything was working, and the difference straight away was just unbelievable. Even picking it up once I'd put it into the stock before firing it, the whole rifle felt different. It just somehow felt more solid. Like I said, I would say that this is a proper Remington now. And it's a bit similar to the story of Remington, had a rifle, it was alright, wasn't too bad, struggled past a certain range, wanted it, could make it better, found somebody who could do the work for me, saw the potential in it, and I went and I had the change done, and I've got to admit, worth every single penny. I'll give you a long-term update. I've already spoke with Lynn today, actually, which is why I've done this second video, because I found out I was waffling on too much about other things, and he's more than happy for me to put this on there now. He's getting ready to bash these out on a bit more volume, from what I can say today. I'd hang on fire though, as Airgun Shooter, I believe, are going to be doing a review on it in the not too distant future. But what do I think of it? Seriously, I mean, was my opinion worth? Not that much. However, what I would say is, this is an honest review of everything that I've seen so far, and you know, it is a cracking rifle now. It's yeah, I think it's only going to get better once the pellets go in there and I find out what pellets to use with it. So stay tuned, and I hope you find this useful, and yeah, enjoy. As always, please feel free to comment. I'll answer what questions I can. Don't troll, and yeah, stay safe. Thanks, bye.